Hey, it's Drybear. The developer Q&A is ongoing for the First Descendant, so let's continue where we left off yesterday on what the developers have been saying about the game and the questions they've been answering from the community. Now, a hot topic right now is the Void Erosion Purge, and I think there's a wide set of perspectives on this. Some people enjoy the challenge of the Void Erosion Purge, some people absolutely hate it, and there's people in the middle that like it for certain reasons and dislike it for others. And so this question has come up quite a lot in the Q&A on what they plan to do with the Void Erosion Purge and what to do going forward. So this question that was asked of them directly is the fact that you have to have a weapon-based build to do anything above Void Erosion Purge 26 or so. Is that what you're expecting? And they respond with, yes, currently skill-based damage dealers have limited effectiveness in Void Erosion Purge, which we do not consider an ideal situation. Even after growing through arcade tuning, skill damage dealers still struggle to perform well in Void Erosion Purge. A broad revision of the Void Erosion Purge combat balance is needed. Our approach will be to first adjust Descendant balance overall, and then improve Void Erosion Purge so that both skill-based and firearm-based damage dealers can perform effectively. The Void Erosion Purge improvements are planned to be implemented alongside its expansion in April. However, as previously mentioned, we do not plan to add 10 new stages at once. Instead, we aim to either refine the current 30-stage system or introduce a small number of additional high-level stages. And what's weird about this response to me is, obviously, skill-based characters are not doing well because there is a massive debuff to skill-based damage as you go higher and higher. So it's not like a big, tinfoil hat conspiracy mystery as to why the skill-based characters can't clear the higher levels. It's literally being, forcefully made that way because of the buffs and debuffs that exist inside of it. So they say they do not consider it an ideal situation, but it's not like it was an accident. Obviously, this is something that came about based on the construct of the system design they created. But I guess it's good news for the people that like having the variety of playing whatever you want. Now, there's always in these kind of games specific gameplay elements and encounters you can run into that will have their own requirements for what they expect you to use. And gacha RPGs and looter shooters and shooter RPGs and stuff like that, oftentimes there's going to be a specific skill set or character type or build type that excels at a certain activity and others that don't. And that encourages you to build out a healthy roster of characters that have a wide set of abilities, right? You create your character that's very good at killing toxic bosses, and then you create a character that's very good at clearing void vessels, and you create a character and build them up that's very good at dealing with Void Erosion Purge. And I think that is actually a healthy direction to take the game in, and a lot of similar games in similar genres do the same, and where it encourages you to try and create that same kind of paradigm. But either way, this does mean that it seems like they're moving in the direction of making the skill-based characters a viable option for the Void Erosion Purge going forward. Now, hopefully they add in more difficulty scalers other than just making the monster damage and monster HP incredibly high as they move higher. But if you are someone that likes to be able to have as many options as possible in a game like this, and you're not, on board with the fact that you have to build a weapon-based build for an activity that is specifically designed to get your weapons to be stronger by getting loot from them that makes your weapon stronger, then I guess they can do this. This one, honestly, their response on this and also just the direction of the mode itself feels kind of wishy-washy, but I guess we'll have to see what changes they plan for the upcoming patches and for the big rework in April. Another great question is if the new Labrador that they're adding as a new fellow to the game will use the existing leveling items for the fellow, and they confirm yes, they absolutely will. So this means you can stock up on the food items to level up the Labrador once you get it, and we'll use the same ones. Now, the acquisition will likely be different once we actually have the Labrador fellow in game, but they do confirm that it will be the same growth material to level them up, so you can just stockpile that now if you want to. Next, there was a comment about the difficulty in leveling up reactors, just how many of the quantum pieces you actually need to get those analyzers to get the reactor leveled up. They mentioned that they will take a look at the enhancement materials and the reactor transplantation to see if there's an issue there. They didn't outright admit that there is. I mean, honestly, it just feels feels like the curve is a little bit too logarithm or exponential. Like it's super flat to get the first 2 levels or even to transplant, and then getting the final levels makes it feel like it plays forever. However, if you are doing your 400% or you're doing the Void Abyss, I feel like you're gonna have plenty of the incubators anyway to get this done. It just feels like you're only gonna have this problem if you're not doing all of the activities in the game. But let me know what you think about this. If you feel like the materials to get reactors leveled up or transplanted is a little bit too much in this game, and what you would like to see changes wise to it. A lot of people have been asking about the increase to core levels, right? Because we had, up to core 7, and then we added up to core 10. And so, because it is a 3 combined into 1 higher system, people are wondering, is there going to be a core 12 or core 13 or core 15? Should I just be trying to save up my materials so I can implant something bigger? And they respond with, core levels will not increase beyond level 10 for the weapon cores. The expansion of higher stages in Void Erosion Purge is currently being reassessed based on player feedback. Rather than adding 10 to 20 stages at once, we are considering either maintaining the current 30-stage system or adding only a few additional higher level stages, and they say the cores will not increase beyond level 10. Now that kind of puts a cap, at least a comfortable cap, on what the Void Erosion Purge can do. If the core level 10 is the highest drop at level 30, then if we go to 40 or 50, is it just going to all be core level 10, or is some other material going to drop, that sort of thing? But they do confirm, at least for their plans right now, they do not plan to have weapon cores increase above 10. Now this makes sense at least for the actual balance of the weapons themselves, because a lot of the weapons are reaching very ridiculous levels with the cores as they are now. So if those stat numbers keep getting bigger and bigger, eventually they're going to get into some very serious problems, especially with like grappling hook and sprint speed, and some of these weapons doing crazy output, fire rate going up too much. Things can get really out of control if they mess around that too much. So I think we shouldn't expect anything above core level 10. And with the new talent system coming along for the game, that's probably where the next progression update and like skill and damage increase is going to come from, rather than getting more weapon cores of a higher value. A quick question here. People asked if there was going to be room for like assassinations or finishing moves or special animations. And the response was no, we don't have plans for any of that at the moment. Since the combat tempo is already very fast, we believe there is little room for assassination or finisher mechanics. Instead, we want to focus on making the hack and slash experience even more dynamic and exhilarating. And they do call it hack and slash. Both hack and slash, I would say, are melee style animations. They said they want to work on that for long term. I'm not sure what that means for them, if that's going to be this year or not, but hopefully we do actually get hack and slash out of this, rather than just, the run and gun that we're seeing most of with ability-based gameplay that kind of takes up that slot in the current state. This one's a fun one. It is a little bit pie in the sky, so don't get too excited about it, but this one is a fun one. I think something that people have been asking for ever since they did that trailer early on prior to launch, where they showed a Colossus appearing inside the normal open field area. It was one of their trailers they showed of a Colossus being fought out in the open. So people have asked, will there be any improvements to open world and open world missions and just field ops in general? And they say, yes, we are preparing plans for new fields and field exclusive content in the future. While we will continue to add matchmaking based content, so instance encounters like the Void Erosion or the Void Vessel or the new Void Abyss, that sort of thing, we also aim to develop more field based content where players can encounter each other naturally and enjoy multiplayer experiences. I don't know if this means we'll have a group of bigger than 4. I feel like since the release of Freyna and the release of Inez, they're kind of pushing it a little bit on their server stability. I feel like if you got 8 players or 12 players or 16 players and all of them were Contagion Freyna, I feel like you would probably start roasting some consoles and mid to low end machines in very serious situations. But it is cool to think that they are considering open world and field ops to be more part of that experience. And I think this is how they make this a successful looter shooter in the first place. They just keep adding variety of content in different perspectives with different requirements, and keep adding more and more to give the game a good solid foundation. Adding on to the earlier comment about the Void Erosion Purge reworks and changes, someone asked, will we be required to have fully cored out weapons to do content in the future? Which I think is a very valid point. point of, are we supposed to be keeping up with the power creep of the new development systems and what will be expected? And I think that even though their answer here is no, you won't need that, and I feel like you might need to, there's obviously going to be the matchmaking situation where if you don't have a cord weapon, that sort of thing, how is that going to align? And some of that just comes down to the buffs that you have and the things that you use in that combat. But their response specifically is the new content in Season 2, Episode 2 was not designed around core-based setups. It wasn't designed around a weapon that is cored out or maxed out in any way. Since weapon core setups are considered an extreme endgame feature, we have not structured the content in a way that requires players to have specific core setups in order to farm new content. And I think this opens up a lot of discussion around, one, should you need the power from these other systems to do this content at all? Is that, something they should be working forward? Should they be expecting people to do these to make these weapons stronger? Obviously, if you're doing content where there is a massive debuff to skill damage, then you probably don't need to have the weapon cores that way. But also there could be situations where a fully maxed out, cored out weapon that is insanely strong, maybe that ends up becoming a problem. If they haven't actually been considering the impact of a fully cored out weapon on the new content in Season 2, Episode 2, does that become a problem where, those cored out weapons can trivialize the difficulty of that content overall? So let me know what you think about this. As they add in more and more systems, do you expect them to, keep in mind the power creep of the new systems being added, or would you like to have these systems be a little bit more isolated and controlled so that you can use them in their own, in their own scope, rather than having to need to keep up with every single tertiary thing to be able to do the newest stuff that comes out? And they also responded to a very important question that a lot of people were asking. Are there going to be summer skins? Since we got the spring, what do you call it? Like hot spring skins, are we gonna still get like summer beachwear and bikinis and things like that? And they said, yes, we're working on various plans for summer skins, so please look forward to them. So if you liked the spring lineup, and like the lineup they have here, they are still planning to do summer skins this summer in a couple months. Adding on to that, they said that in Season 2, Episode 2, they will be refining dyeable areas, including eyebrows and beards, and addressing undyeable areas on skins and base models. Some undyeable sections may not be fully fixed yet, but we plan to continue improving them over time, so we appreciate your understanding. So they're getting more dyeable areas, so if you want to be able to change eyebrow color, beard color, or there are plenty of skins in the game where certain sections can't be changed. The one I always reference is the bluebies on the Dead Bride skin that can't be changed from that color. So they're going to be looking at a lot of those previous skins and new skins to make it more optional and available for you to change the colors of those, including hair areas and things like that. Next up is a topic that I think comes up every single time they sit down to do a Q&A session with the community. People asking, can we get more traditional like trifecta tank healer DPS roles for these encounters? And they had already answered this last time they did a Q&A, and also like over the holiday as well, saying that they don't really want to do a true trifecta like tank DPS whatever, because they don't feel like they can make encounters that work that way. And also it seems like the player base just wants to be able to play whatever character they want whenever they want. But the question has come up again, can we get Ajax to be able to taunt and play as a tank for certain encounters or just in general? And the Reddit responds with, while the First Descendant does not have a dedicated aggro system, some Descendants do have skills that provoke enemies. We will discuss with the development team whether a taunt mechanic can be implemented for Ajax. And I'll leave it there for today on the Q&A. Let me know what you think about their direction, the current state of the First Descendant, and what you're hoping to see in Season 2, Episode 2, and Season 3. Serena being on the way, the new zone, the new field coming into the game as well, plus the new talent tree system that's coming along, and just generally how you're feeling about TFD going into the future. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.